With less than 350 made, the Ferrari F50 is even rarer than the incredible F40, and F1 engine technology means it is worth even more than the F40 too. In the minds of many, the Ferrari F40 is the greatest car to come from Maranello. But with 1,315 made, there are actually rarer supercars than the F40 to come from Ferrari. Such as the car's numerical successor, the Ferrari F50. The F50 is one of the rarer Ferraris made with just 349 made in total, and with Formula One engine technology providing the basis for its power unit. The F50 never gets spoken about in the same manner as the F40, which is weird given its rarity might mean it is worth more. The F50 was a sleek-looking car, produced in the mid-1990s, and was sometimes described as a bit of a handful to drive. Yet it's one of Ferrari's most exclusive and may also be one of their most underrated. The F50 often sits in the F40's shadow, but surely it's now time for it to emerge. Under the hood, the F50 had quite the special engine. That engine was a 4.7-liter naturally aspirated tip F130B 60-valve V12 engine. This engine was in fact developed from the 3.5-liter V12 used in the 1990 Ferrari 641 F1 car. This is a car that Nigel Mansell and world champion Alain Prost would take to 6 wins, 3 poles and 14 podiums during the 1990 F1 season. The 641 actually served as the main source of inspiration for the F50. The development of the F1 engine saw the F50 chuck out 512 horsepower in total, handled via a 6-speed manual transmission. That is a lot of V12 power for a manual to handle. It's rare that F1 engines are actually developed further for use in road cars, with the Mercedes-AMG 1 showing just how hard a task that can be. The V12 was also used in Ferrari's 333 s.p.a GT Championship car in 1994, showing the versatility of the power unit that Ferrari had selected. Even the F40 couldn't claim to have an F1-inspired engine powering it. Ferrari made the F50 in very limited numbers. Something that seems forgotten with the F50 is the limited numbers in which it was of course produced. The F40 in itself is quite rare and worth a lot, with just 1,315 produced over a 5-year period. Yet amazingly, the F50 is rarer than the F40. Only 349 F50s were ever produced, meaning that it is a bona fide collectible. While it isn't uncommon for an F40 to go for millions, one example of the F50 sold at RM Sotheby's for a staggering $5,395,000, showing just how valuable such a rare Ferrari actually is. You might think an F40 has sold for more, but that isn't the case. Back in the summer of 2022, a Ferrari F40 from 1990 with just 1,832 miles on the clock sold at Gooding & Company for $3,965,000. While that is a record-breaking sum for the F40, it still doesn't come close to breaking the value of the F50. As the F50 was a special to mark 50 years of Ferrari, it's little wonder Ferrari decided to create such a small number. That low number plus the relativity of the car to the 1990 Ferrari 641 helps the F50 to hold its value to a very high level. Why the F50 cost more than the F40? We have touched upon it, but it is the low numbers made that make the F50 such a valuable car versus the F40. Not that the F40 is cheap, but when one can sell for $2 million more it almost looks it. It's natural a supercar with just 349 examples made will sell for such big numbers, even more so when its engine is Formula One inspired. Then there is the fact that this Ferrari was to commemorate the company's 50th anniversary. The example of the F50 that sold at RM Sotheby's for over $5 million had even less miles than the Ferrari F40 auction record breaker. This F50 had just 625 miles on the clock from new via its 2 owners, meaning that this F50 was practically a brand new car, and it probably had a hint of that new car smell too. The Ferrari F50 deserves more attention. Its rarity and F1 links mean the F50 deserves plenty more recognition. It's one of the most powerful Ferraris and supercars of its era. It features an engine developed from one that nearly won an F1 World Championship, and it is one of the most incredible looking Ferraris ever made. It's very much arguable that the F50 is a sleeker and better looking Ferrari than the F40. More attention should get paid to the F50, as it's unlikely we will ever see a car like it again. And it's not often a 1990s Ferrari sells for nearly $6 million.